Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hi, Fran Maier. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting, Life Unscripted. We're so grateful to have you here today. We are excited. I was excited to have you come on by. When I first saw you, your PR agent reached out to me, and I heard that you used to be a co-founder of Match.com. That's exactly how my husband and I met. So we're internally grateful to your old company, but now you're doing wonderful things with BabyQuip.com, helping parents out there get the equipment they need for their children and infants. But I'd love for you to share, because today you're going to share with your infinite wisdom tips on how to launch a successful business. And most of our audience is business owners, and so you'll be just the person to do that. But share a little bit about your backstory before we jump into all of that.
Well, first of all, I'm so glad you met your husband on Match. And it's one of the eternal joys of my life is, even though we sold Match.com for way too little, way too early, I still meet people all the time. And, if it's all about having impact of one kind or another, I certainly feel like I've done something. So kind of thrilled by that. So Match was, I was there between late 94 and 98. We sold it way too early, way too little, but that happens. That was my first startup. Prior to that, I was...
Can I stop you real quick? What was the impetus for even creating Match.com for you?
Right. So, so the story is I was a graduate of Stanford Business School, and I went to my 5-year reunion in 1994, and I reconnected with this guy, Kerri Couillard, who was starting this business called Electric Classifieds. And the idea was to get the classified advertising market out of newspapers or work with newspapers and put them online, which of course eventually happened. But to tell you the truth, we were a little bit early, and Match was supposed to be the proof of concept. Let's take this one category. But all the investors and everybody was all for electric classifieds, because back then, personals, as they were called in newspapers, were considered kind of sleazy, and they were. And so what I think we did at Match, and, of all that effort, Match is the one that endured. But back then, people didn't know the power of social media, it wasn't even a phrase. We didn't even use it. Affiliate marketing, didn't even use it. All kinds of things that we built Match on were real. And the fact that you would have community and build brands on the web was still relatively new concept. I did a podcast interview with somebody where I had to explain to her that the first iterations of Match were on dial-up. And she's like, what's dial-up?
Oh my God, you're right. Oh, you're so right. When I first started connecting on Match, I was doing dial-up. It was the first time I ever got, and the reason I got a personal computer is I wanted to start dating, and I wanted to date online because I wasn't having good success out in bars or whatever. And my friend said, why don't you join Match? And so I bought a computer just so I could go onto dial-up and make connection.
Right. So that's how early we were. If there's anything, being late to a market is a problem. Being too early could be a problem too. Yeah. So, to your point, one of the things I brought to it was a real focus on making Match attractive to women so that women would go on. And if women went on, then guys would follow. And so we made it, and by the way, back then there weren't photos. So we had a lot of questions about what color are your eyes, how, and I take credit for no dating site then, after that time, or even now, ever will ask you how much you weigh.
Really?
And that's because of me.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, right. So, and also the membership model, because the job I had prior to Match was I was head of membership for AAA in Northern California. Mm-hmm. And I kind of knew, membership's just a powerful thing. And
it is the wave. If you're a business owner, can we touch on that? I love that. I'm seeing subscription membership basis take over a lot of businesses and make them super successful. Yeah. What applications can businesses use it? Is it all businesses are good for that sort of thing, or is it more?
I don't know. We don't have a subscription model on BabyQuip right now, but it's something that we're considering. Certainly for the part of BabyQuip that we do. Well, we'll get to that. Anyway, Match was great fun. From there, I went on to a couple of other startups. My last one was called TRUSTe, or it's now called TrustArc, Internet Privacy, Trustmark, and Compliance and Technology. So sort of big. And what happened is I left TrustArc in early 2012, and I moved to San Francisco, and I bought a house literally 1 block over and 5 blocks up from Airbnb headquarters. And this is 2012. So, really 10 years ago, Airbnb was certainly a fast growing company, but wasn't what it is now. Nonetheless, I had 2 bedrooms on the top floor of my house. San Francisco has those skinny houses. And I started renting them. And all of a sudden, I was making pretty good money in the gig economy. And I was also thinking about what this change in the way people are working, as well as the way people are traveling. What is that? What businesses are going to emerge out of that? And it took a little while, and I didn't really want to go into cleaning. There were already a bunch of property management companies, but I met a gal who was in Silicon Valley. She came from Santa Fe at the time, which is my hometown, and she was doing this baby gear rental business and doing a early stage peer-to-peer business. And in our first meeting, I said, Kerri, I should be your CEO. And the way I think about it is, and maybe this is a lesson, and do you remember American Idol?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they give the feedback, you got to pick the right song for your voice.
Yes.
Right? I think as an entrepreneur, you got to pick the right opportunity. And when I looked at BabyQuip, I knew that I could take advantage of my experience in building trusted brands. Because let me tell you, building Match back in the mid-90s, it was all about trust, right? It was all about making it clean and accessible. And, because there was all this fear mongering about meeting people online.
And making it feel safe, which it totally
making it feel safe. Our 3 brand words were safe, anonymous, and fun.
Boom. And so true.
Right.
Yeah.
So I knew I'm good at building consumer brands. I know I'm good at building trusted brands. This is a category where building a trusted brand, because parents, they don't want to go to Craigslist for baby gear. Maybe to buy baby gear, but not to rent baby gear, because they want it to be clean. They want it to be safe. They want to know that there's somebody accountable for it, that has insurance, that, they're not going to be held liable, or if something happened, there'd be some protection for them. And that's what we did. So, so that's how I arrived here. We launched in 2016. Unlike most marketplaces, and most of my tips will be about building marketplaces. Match was a marketplace. BabyQuip's a marketplace. We launched by really recruiting what we call quality providers. These are the people who actually own the baby gear, and they're the ones who deliver it and set it up and pick it up and clean it. They usually start with their own gear, but this isn't just sharing economy. Most of our quality providers, we have 1,200 in over 1,000 locations. They have multiple cribs, car seats, strollers. They really are entrepreneurs themselves building a business on our platform.
You know what I'm loving about this? It's kind of like you're all working together as a community, and a win-win. They have the product, you're being the middle guy to help get it to the parents that need it. And then the parents get what they need without having to purchase, say, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of baby equipment, which you don't really need for all that long for some of it.
Yeah. So just to be clear, we really are aiming at the travel market. So we're really aiming at parents on the go. So while we do some long-term rentals, most of our program is renting for 3 to 5 days, 7 days, while you're visiting your grandparents or your parents, while you're going to Hawaii, while you're going to Florida. But almost any part of the United States has a need for people to have baby gear.
Yeah.
I love this. So let me back up. BabyQuip is the Airbnb of baby gear. So we deliver to families who are traveling all over the country, and it really makes a difference, because it's really, really rough to try to lug all that baby gear.
Yeah.
And are you a parent?
I'm not, but I've traveled with my nephews and they've had a bunch of baby gear. So
Right.
I've been in that situation.
And, millennials and parents today, they really want to be able to travel and experience things. And the thought of lugging all that baby gear is just, a disincentive to travel, which they love to do. The other thing is that parents now really put a premium, maybe we all should have, on sleep. And some babies don't sleep in a pack and play. They need a full-size crib or a snoo, which I didn't know what a snoo was. It's like a very smart bassinet.
Oh, nice. Never heard of those.
Yeah, but it makes sense, put smart in front of anything. So
how does it work? What's it do exactly?
Oh, it sort of swaddles the baby, and also depending on how the baby moves, might vibrate.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah. Well, and if you're a baby and you are addicted to the snoo, then when you travel, you want the snoo.
Yeah. Well, this is great because the cost of lugging stuff around too when you travel, it's just horrendous. This way, I'm sure the cost is much more affordable to rent it as opposed to lugging it around, paying at the airport. We know just adding a little bit of luggage when you travel is just insane now. So yeah.
And we also do things like toys, so how fun is it for a kid to come to a vacation spot and here's a whole new box of trains and trucks and dolls and books and things like that to play with. So families love us. We have a 94 net promoter score, which is world class, higher than even Apple and Williams Sonoma, two of my favorite brands, for example. And, sometimes it could get a little bit pricey, but guess what? Now, when you travel, and people had a hard time traveling this year, maybe you miss a flight. Well, if you can carry on your luggage, right, then maybe you could get on another flight. But if you had to check all that baby gear, then you're kind of constrained.
Yeah, you got to wait for your luggage to show up wherever it might be. I've had that. Well, this is great. And I love this model because it's a win-win for everyone, the parents who are not having to struggle how to get their stuff about, and then everyone to, be able to rent it. Now, where do you find the best tips for someone getting started and they say, hey, could I use some of these ideas to move forward in my product into the marketplace? I mean, it seems to me that you're really honing in on what your best gift is to the marketplace. And I like that you said that because I heard someone say often people take and bring to the marketplace what they most enjoy or like, but not what's most needed or what their gift is most. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right. So I think that you got to solve a real problem, right? And the real problem can't be just one that you suffer through, but that a lot of people have to deal with. And it's kind of funny because been asked by some investors, how come this hasn't happened before? Why now? It's like, well, you know what? It probably took a couple of women to see what this problem was and to see what the solution was. So one of your gifts might be that you have a unique insight into this problem area, either because of where you're working or something that you experience. I think the other thing is, and I see companies miss this all the time, really understanding who your market is, who your target is, and being very, very focused on defining and understanding that target market. And for a marketplace, it's two sides. It's the customer. And for us, it's mostly moms of a certain age with a certain amount of income who like to travel with babies this age, right? Mm-hmm. But for our quality providers, it's also moms just like those ones. I mean, our quality providers and a lot of the quality providers that we recruited were customers of ours, right?
Yeah.
So stay-at-home moms looking for a little bit more money. Maybe they're working part-time. A lot of them also used to work in industry and public relations, sales, marketing, operations. They want a job they could do with their kids and something that they understand. And we've got this community of over 1,200 quality providers. We have a private Facebook page where they share wins, customer issues, deals on gear, lady brags. It's mostly women. Yeah, there's some couples who do it together. There's some guys, but it's mostly women. And they're really looking for a gratifying experience and some extra money.
That's awesome. You know what this brings to mind for me, Fran, is many years ago, and I found this through in Manhattan when I was living in New York, is there was a need where, people need to go on trips and they don't know where to leave their dog. They can't take their dog with them or their cat. And so they built this organization where communities, people in the community say a single person, you can't have any other pets, but they will drop off the pet and individual people will watch them in their house. And take care of them for a week or whatever. But they would bet you that the company would come in and see if it's a clean home, you're sane, whatever. Right. And then if it works out, you're one of our members, just like, your providers. And then when they do find a dog or a cat that needs a home for the weekend, they will put you guys together, put all the contracts together, and they'll drop their cat or dog over, and you'll take care of the cat and get a few extra bucks.
I'll take a couple more. Since we've been doing BabyQuip, there's a company called Swimply. People can rent out their swimming pool.
Ooh.
And there's another one, I can't remember the name, but where you can rent out your yard or your acres or your farm so that other people can walk their dogs.
Interesting.
Seriously. So marketplace businesses are big. The biggest challenge with the marketplace business is getting the flywheel started, matching supply and demand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately for us, pretty much as soon as we put people in a market, we got orders.
Yeah.
So we are really meeting an unmet need.
Yeah, you were. You are.
We are.
Yeah, you totally are. And see, I think with this pet thing, I think for me, you talked about safe and how important it is to have safe. They want clean equipment. They want it to be safe. Well, the same goes for your pet. You're like a family member. You don't want to just drop them in the kennel and they're locked up in a cage. So this was a marketplace need that, I'm dropping my dog off at an actual person who loved dogs and he's taking care of them. It's an awesome idea. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, this has been great. We could go on forever.
I love talking about this stuff. You bet.
But you've been such a pleasure. I'd love for you to share how people can get BabyQuip today. You also left a wonderful code, which I'll share with everyone. You left a savvy code, 20% on rentals of $100 or more from September 15th through October 31st at babyquip.com. /P/savvy. If you just go there and you rent, the code is just savvy, SAVV as in Victor Y. I thank you so much. Is there anything you want to leave our audience with before we head on?
And first of all, we're always looking for new people to be quality providers. So if they go to babyquip.com, they'll find where you can learn how to be a provider. And we train people. We make sure not just on safety and cleanliness, but on hospitality, on business development, affiliate marketing. We teach you how to get your Google My Business page, So I really love it that we're making entrepreneurs and they're making really good money. I'd say for the consumer standpoint, the holidays are coming. Start getting those orders in early.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And is it a hard process once they get going to work with you? What's it look like?
They have to have an interview. They got to do a background check because, again, safety. But we get people up and running within a few days if they're ready to go. And you don't even have to have all the gear right away. We'll pay you when you get an order, and you can usually go buy the gear and build your inventory according to demand in your market.
Boom, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You're serving so many needs, getting those people out there creating a small business from their home or wherever, and then people getting what they need for their babies. Thank you so much, Fran, for coming today to share your great wisdom. I'm really grateful you came today to share.
Thank you, Christina. You take care. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more savvy episodes and savvy biz tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.